Also why he was so good at fighting, man. In the middle of the Jose Aldo fight, I remember looking into his eyes and watching how calm, like genuinely calm he was. I'm like, this guy just, and Dana said it best, he's like, he eats pressure.
She just called out the biggest star in combat sports, and what happened next is absolutely wild. We're talking about Conor McGregor here, the guy who literally doesn't give a D***MN about rules, expectations, or what anyone thinks about his approach. This isn't just some fighter looking for a payday. This is a man who's built his entire empire on chaos, and right now, the biggest names in MMA are lining up to get a piece of that chaos. Because when McGregor's involved, it's never just about fighting. It's about making noise, breaking records, and leaving a mark so deep that the sport never recovers. And what's happening behind the scenes with this White House card? It's about to change everything.
Interesting that in the time where that low calf kick is coming to prominence, and you know, this is also the time when Conor started moving away from the sport, took time off, fought boxing, you know, then came back and had the fight with Khabib, and then came back and had the fight with Cowboy. The calf kick was never in play in any of his fights, but if you look at him stylistically, and this is one of the things I love, DC's detail that he does on ESPN, it's amazing. But when he broke down Conor's heavy weight on the right leg, he leans in like this all the time. It's such a big weapon.
And sometimes he, like you said, that wide stance as well. It's just hard to check the kick from that wide stance.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's a crazy stance for everything other than calf kicks. It's a great stance.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so good at moving in and covering distance with that stance.
As of right here, right now, Gaethje McGregor is still on the table. And I think that should be pulled. I do not believe that Conor should walk into a title fight, but moreover, I will tell you, and Conor will too, he's not going to 155. Now, the promotion does not yet have that through their head. They are still pushing for Conor and 155. This is all extremely accurate information. So, I think there's a lot of options for McGregor. I really think that if it's not him versus Chandler, it should be. We really should look at that. We fans were promised a certain fight.
Here's what makes McGregor different from every other fighter on the planet. He doesn't just tolerate chaos, he actively craves it. He wants absolute bedlam, a swirling hurricane of unpredictability where normal fighters would crumble under the pressure. Most athletes try to control their environment, minimize variables, keep things calm and predictable. Not McGregor. He weaponizes the commotion. He feeds off the energy of 10,000 people screaming, cameras flashing, reporters shouting questions. The bigger the circus, the better he performs. And that's exactly why this White House card is perfect for him. Because if there's one thing Conor McGregor knows how to do, it's turn a fight into a cultural phenomenon that transcends sports entirely.
It depends you fight with who. If you're gonna fight with Cowboy Cerrone, you're gonna look good. You're gonna be like lion. But if you're gonna fight like guys who on the top, who really best in the world, like Dustin Poirier, like this fight gonna show your level. You know, okay, fight with Cowboy or like these fights, be lion and that's it, make money. This is smart. But if you wanna become champion, if you wanna fight like Beneil, Islam, Charles, Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, these guys lions, you know? These guys gonna show your level.
But here's where things get absolutely insane. As the buzz around this unprecedented White House card grows louder, McGregor's name is echoing through every corner of the fight world more than ever before. We're seeing an avalanche of callouts from fighters who would normally never dare mention his name. Competitors from every division are circling like sharks, desperate to get a piece of the action. Even the most seasoned experts, guys who have been covering this sport for decades, are completely divided on what this historic event will actually turn out to be. Some think it's genius marketing. Others think it's a circus that damages the sport's credibility. But here's the undeniable truth that everyone agrees on. If the lights are on and the cameras are rolling, McGregor will be front and center, completely in the thick of it all. And everyone else, they're just trying to survive the aftermath.
What's next, Mauricio?
O que é o próximo? O que é o que vem agora para você?
Eu pedi Perry Pimblett na Casa Branca, talvez Conor McGregor tá querendo lutar também. Eu vi na internet rumores que ele acha melhor lutar contra mim, que sou um bom striker e que vai dar show pra galera, do que contra o Michael Chandler, que vem só de derrotas. E eu tô aqui, eu sou trabalhador do UFC, o que o UFC colocar, eu tô pronto.
Yeah, I work for UFC, but of course I want to fight on White House, maybe with Paddy Pimblett or maybe Conor. I saw something about Conor saying that it's good to fight with me than Michael Chandler. So yeah, but I'm...
And it's fascinating how one name keeps pulling everyone else into its gravitational field, even as the exact details remain murky. Take Mauricio Ruffy, for instance. This guy completely refused to back down from the potential of fighting on this White House card, boldly stepping into the spotlight despite McGregor's colossal shadow looming over everything. When Ruffy was directly asked about his next move, he leaned straight into the McGregor discussion, making it crystal clear he understood the landscape. There had been whispers, you see, that Conor might be looking for a pure striker, someone who brings excitement and fireworks rather than a cautious, boring wrestler. And Ruffy, with almost uncanny timing, presented himself as exactly that. Available, eager, and without a laundry list of demands or diva behavior. He made it apparent that he's fully prepared to take center stage and let the UFC make the final decision. Essentially saying, if McGregor wants a fight that will be undeniably entertaining, I'm your guy.
See him, you know? It just...
That would be a great one. But what excites me more is the fight with Paddy.
Really?
Yeah, that fight excites me even more. And if they could put that fight in space...
But here's what's even more wild. It's not just rising contenders showing this kind of confidence. When Conor McGregor's name gets thrown into the mix, even reigning champions start doing the math. Take Ilia Topuria, for example. This guy was incredibly straightforward about his stance. For him, there's simply no justifiable reason to decline a fight offer from McGregor. And this isn't about the competition itself or proving who's better. The driving force behind that decision is the sheer scale of the event. A bout with Conor McGregor isn't just another fight on your record. It represents an opportunity to make history, to step into an unparalleled spotlight, and to generate numbers that can completely reshape an entire career. We're talking about setting new benchmarks for pay-per-view sales, social media followers, endorsement deals, everything. Topuria stated without hesitation that he's absolutely prepared to answer the call if and when it comes. That right there speaks volumes about McGregor's enduring power in this sport.
I feel like there's a couple guys who kind of changed the game. One of them was Chael Sonnen, and another one is Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
And part of the way they changed the game was talking mad shit and getting a lot of people to pay attention to them.
Yeah.
And
Which, cool, you know? Like, it got them a lot of attention. It got them a lot of money. But, like, and if that's what makes them happy, cool, you know?
And let me tell you, that enduring power is just absolutely mind-blowing. Joe Rogan, the legendary UFC commentator who's seen every era of this sport, articulated McGregor's appeal with perfect clarity. He explained that Conor's magnetic draw hasn't diminished in the slightest, despite his current standing and recent form inside the octagon. His value remains completely unaffected, even though he's no longer the undisputed champion sitting at the very top of the skill rankings. McGregor continues to command more attention, more headlines, and more buzz than anyone else in the sport, consistently guaranteeing millions upon millions of viewers for any event he's part of. This kind of overwhelming gravitational pull is incredibly rare in an era where stars often come and go in a flash. Most fighters get their 15 minutes of fame and then fade into obscurity. Not McGregor. He's been dominating headlines for nearly a decade, and that's precisely why his name keeps popping up in every discussion about this White House card.
What history show us? When you take like this damage, you're never gonna be same, never ever. Okay, if we talk about Conor, okay, like last couple years he's not hungry, and now what happened with his legs? Like never ever, never people come back, and never gonna be people on the same prime twice. Prime come only one time. You're gonna be on.
Rogan, alongside the ever-insightful Chael Sonnen, also shed light on why McGregor's influence runs so much deeper than just wins and losses. He described Conor as one of those truly rare fighters who didn't just compete in mixed martial arts. He fundamentally rewired the entire business model of the sport itself. The blueprint for McGregor's unprecedented success wasn't simply about fighting skills, though he certainly had them early in his career. It was about creating noise, cultivating an unforgettable personality, and fearlessly saying the most outrageous things loudly and repeatedly in a way that people simply couldn't ignore. Every press conference became appointment television. Every social media post went viral. Every interview generated headlines for weeks. That relentless, captivating attention he generated was then masterfully converted into leverage with the UFC, and that leverage transformed into staggering amounts of money. Whether people loved or absolutely despised his approach, Rogan's point was simple. For truly shrewd fighters, what appears to be mere trash talk is actually sophisticated psychological warfare and business strategy combined. And McGregor perfected it better than anyone in combat sports history.
Gonna go down. It depends you fight with who. If you're gonna fight with Cowboy Cerrone, you're gonna look good. You're gonna be like lion. But if you're gonna fight like guys who on the top, who really best in the world, like Dustin Poirier, like this fight gonna show your level. You know, okay, fight with Cowboy or like these fights, be lion and that's it. Make money. This is smart. But if you want to become champion, if you want to fight like Beneil, Islam, Charles, Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, these guys lions, you know? These guys gonna show your...
Now, while some people think that's brilliant business, not everyone is buying into this comeback narrative. Khabib Nurmagomedov absolutely did not hold back when discussing McGregor's potential return to the octagon. Khabib forcefully argued that the damage Conor has accumulated over his career, especially the horrific leg injuries he suffered against Dustin Poirier, isn't something you ever fully recover from at this level of competition. He believes that kind of physical toll leaves permanent effects that show up when you're fighting elite-level opponents who can exploit any weakness. Combine that with what Khabib sees as years of lost hunger, that diminished drive that happens when a fighter achieves massive success and steps away from constant competition, and the math becomes simple. A fighter's true prime, that perfect combination of physical ability, mental sharpness, and desperate hunger, only comes around once in a lifetime. After that peak, no comeback, no matter how hyped or well-marketed, can ever truly recreate that magic. Once you've reached the summit, Khabib believes the descent is inevitable.
God that dictates my journey and all of our journeys, and I live my life by God's word. And since around that time that you mentioned at the last event, I've engaged on a spiritual journey, and I'm saved, I am healed. And you know, on the back of that, the world is in for a treat. The world is in for a treat. My competitive spark that was once in my heart is now a roaring blaze. So I'm very excited. You know, I envy these men up here on this dais. They're right about to make weight, and they're to go in and enjoy and entertain and do what they were called to do, as am I called to do it. And you know, I'm eager to get back, and right now I had to dial myself in and go inward, and that I done, and I'm very, very excited to come back.
Then Khabib tied his concerns directly to this upcoming White House card, framing it as far more than just another spectacle for casual fans. He argued that fighting someone like Donald Cerrone, for example, might make McGregor look flashy and undoubtedly sell tons of tickets while creating massive buzz across social media. But for Khabib, the real question is whether McGregor can still genuinely compete with the absolute killers at the top of the lightweight division. He's talking about names like Dustin Poirier, Islam Makhachev, Charles Oliveira, or Justin Gaethje. These are fighters in their prime, hungry, and technically superior to almost everyone they face. For Khabib, this White House stage isn't just about grabbing headlines or generating revenue. It's the ultimate test. It will definitively reveal whether McGregor's championship-level skills are truly gone, or if he can still perform when it matters most against world-class opposition. In Khabib's eyes, this matchup will expose whether Conor is still a legitimate threat or just a headline-generating spectacle.
Right? Okay, a special treat in the White House and a special treat in Conor McGregor, which is almost a gift, right? Bread Panty Night is real. That's a gift for somebody. We'll gift this to Justin Gaethje on his way out the door, and he won't mind fighting in a different weight class because he's leaving anyway. He's not coming up the ranks. This is all part of the thought process as to why it's going to be Conor versus Justin Gaethje, but that is also believed that Justin Gaethje was going to lose. Now, you can't say that. When you go in and you start talking about these deals, there's never say, hey, you're going to lose to Patty. So when you lose to Patty, we're going to bump you up a weight class that won't matter as you're on your way out anyway. Like, you can't say those things. So when he goes in and gets the win, it's very hard to unwind that and go, okay, it's no longer McGregor and Gaethje. They're both going to go. Why? Right? Imagine McGregor that already said yes to Gaethje.
However, while Khabib publicly questioned whether McGregor still possesses that burning competitive fire, Conor himself vehemently insists the answer is a resounding yes. Ahead of this monumental White House card, he's framed his return as far more than just another fight on his resume. For him, it's a deeply personal mission fueled by newfound faith, intensive self-reflection, and a desire to prove his doubters catastrophically wrong. The fire that once drove him to become a two-division champion, that relentless ambition and competitive spirit that made him the biggest star in combat sports, he confidently claims it's not just back. It's stronger, more intense, and more laser-focused than ever before. After taking significant time away from competition to recalibrate his mind, body, and priorities, McGregor asserts that he's returning sharper and absolutely ready to prove to the entire world that he still belongs on the biggest stages in sports. For him, this White House card isn't just another payday or publicity stunt. It's the ultimate proving ground for this supposedly new, relentlessly driven version of himself.
On the internet, you versus McGregor.
Shit, give them what they want, not what they expect. I can say some big news, and I can't deny or confirm what you just said.
Even Chael Sonnen was talking about it. And as I said, when you look at Jorge Masvidal and the career that he's had, and then you remember Jorge Masvidal has been a massive supporter of Donald Trump. I think he's spoken publicly at rallies for Donald Trump as well. So he's certainly in the good graces of the Trump family, right? And they're the kind of people that they're going to want at the White House. Conor McGregor versus Jorge Masvidal. That'll be a sensational matchup. Michael Chandler, of course, losing to Paddy Pimblett the way that he did. And then, of course, when you look at the majority of fights that he's lost, okay, it doesn't really put him in too good of a standing, okay? And of course, he's 155. Yeah, he'd come up to 170 to fight McGregor, but he's not a natural 170. And Jorge Masvidal has fought at 155, but also finished his career at 170. He did fight for the belt. He did have the fastest knockout in history. He absolutely destroyed Nate Diaz when he became the first BMF. I mean, if you go back to 2019,
building on McGregor's very public promises of a focused return, Chael Sonnen added his invaluable perspective on who Conor might realistically face at this White House event. Sonnen framed a potential matchup with Justin Gaethje as almost a gift from the MMA gods, describing it as a truly smart pairing that makes perfect sense both for the spectacle it would create and for the individual career paths of both fighters. Gaethje brings violence, excitement, and legitimate top 5 credentials. McGregor brings star power, pay-per-view numbers, and global attention. It's a fight that guarantees absolute fireworks and delivers value for everyone involved. However, Sonnen, with his characteristic wisdom gained from years in this business, immediately reminded everyone that nothing is guaranteed once that cage door slams shut. Even if McGregor has agreed to the fight and contracts are signed, the actual outcome inside the octagon will write its own completely unpredictable story. And the real test, according to Sonnen, will be proving whether this new, supposedly sharpened version of McGregor can truly back up all the hype he's been generating.
Young generation of fighters are going to know you for the way you commentate, the way you call plays, the way you are so analytical about fighters. You're amazing at what you do at bringing the whole story to life. And I think it's like one piece of the puzzle that has to be there. Like, we need John Anik, you know, and we've seen you do some other things with the Canelo fight, which was amazing, by the way, which I want to talk about. How much of this chemistry is built off the camera versus on the camera?
Sonnen then delved into just how incredibly complicated things could get if Conor McGregor were thrown straight into a title fight, especially if he moves back up to the 155-pound lightweight division, where the competition is absolutely murderous. He explained that such a move raises serious questions about what a championship belt truly represents in the UFC, and could quickly make the entire situation messy and politically charged among other contenders who have been grinding for years. As a creative workaround to this potential nightmare, Sonnen suggested a clash with the loser of the highly anticipated Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett fight. a matchup that could still generate massive intrigue and excitement without completely breaking the division's hierarchy. It's undeniably a huge fight with serious fan appeal, but Sonnen made it clear that this White House card isn't just about manufacturing buzz and social media moments. It's about finding a fight that makes logical sense inside the cage, and for the sport's overall narrative and credibility.
It's no secret, obviously. I want to fight Conor, and I think it's no secret by the things that he's posting, the interviews that he's doing, the number of times he said my name, posted a video of me and him and our highlights and all that kind of stuff a week or so ago. He wants to fight me. I want to fight him. He wants to fight at the White House. I want nothing more than to be wearing the red, white, and blue stars and bars, walking onto the White House lawn and fighting at the White House. You know how hard it is to put percentages on anything in mixed martial arts. It's such a crazy sport, and that's why we love it. But one thing is for sure, Conor wants to fight me at the White House. I want to fight him at the White House. And conversations are being had. I think things are moving in that direction, but we're never going to know when this thing's going to be announced. So we will see. All I know is I'm going to start training here very soon, like laser focused on June, whatever it is. And they're going to keep holding the cards close to their chests as they always do, trying to keep things a secret. And
then Michael Bisping, the former middleweight champion and legendary voice in MMA, jumped in with his own take on potential White House matchups, specifically highlighting the star power and captivating storylines behind them. He immediately pointed to Jorge Masvidal as a sensational dream opponent for McGregor, noting Masvidal's highly publicized history with Trump rallies and his deep connection to the political spotlight, making him almost tailor-made for this White House setting. The guy literally campaigned with Trump, appeared at political events, and has that crossover appeal that casual fans recognize. Bisping contrasted that compelling option with Michael Chandler, whose recent string of losses and natural weight class might not align perfectly with what McGregor needs right now. Meanwhile, Masvidal's incredible resume, from the fastest knockout in UFC history against Ben Askren to becoming the inaugural BMF champion, positions him perfectly as someone who can deliver both legitimate credibility and incredible entertainment value against McGregor on a stage as uniquely historic as the White House lawn. Moreover, John Anik, the respected UFC play-by-play commentator, weighed in with a slightly different perspective on this White House card situation. While acknowledging the immense excitement of seeing Conor McGregor potentially back in action, Anik expressed clear concerns about some of the rumored matchups circulating in MMA media. He specifically suggested that a fight with Michael Chandler, while undeniably patriotic and attention-grabbing for American audiences, might not carry legitimate weight in the highly competitive lightweight division and could even end up happening at a catchweight, which dilutes its significance for rankings and title implications. For Anik, the real intrigue and meaningful stakes would come from potential clashes with established, dangerous fighters like Nate Diaz, who brings that trilogy storyline, or Mauricio Ruffy, who represents the hungry new generation. These are the matchups that would genuinely test McGregor's skills, deliver significant stakes inside the octagon, and prove whether he still belongs among the elite or if this is just an elaborate farewell tour. Adding to Anik's point about truly meaningful matchups, Michael Chandler himself stepped forward with a very clear, very direct call-out that sent shockwaves through the MMA community. He wants Conor McGregor, and he wants that fight specifically on the White House stage with all the historical significance and global attention that comes with it. Chandler confidently pointed to McGregor's own social media posts, his interviews, and even his training highlight reels as compelling proof that the feeling is absolutely mutual between both fighters. While he acknowledged that MMA is inherently unpredictable and nothing is guaranteed until contracts are signed and the cage door closes, Chandler made it clear that both fighters are completely aligned in their desire for this bout and that talks are progressing positively behind the scenes. He's already deep into his training camp, staying in peak condition and demonstrating his readiness to make this highly anticipated matchup a reality whenever the UFC finally gives the green light. The question isn't if they want to fight each other. The question is whether the UFC can make the business side work for everyone involved. So there you have it. The biggest names in MMA are circling around Conor McGregor like sharks smelling blood in the water. This White House card is generating more buzz than any event in recent memory, and everyone from rising contenders to established champions is doing whatever it takes to get a piece of the action. This isn't just about one fight anymore. This is about who controls the narrative in mixed martial arts, who gets to benefit from McGregor's massive star power, and whether Conor can prove he's still got what it takes to compete at the highest level. Honestly, I think we're watching something historic unfold in real time, and the ripple effects will be felt throughout the sport for years to come. So here's my question for you. Drop it in the comments. Which matchup do you think makes the most sense for McGregor at this White House card? Chandler, Masvidal, Ruffy, or someone else entirely? If this breakdown helped you understand what's really happening behind the scenes, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell because this story is just getting started and things are about to get even crazier. I'll see you in the next one.